Han, and we're here with Gardening Tips Live. I am a Knox County Master Gardener, and I'm joined by my friends and fellow Master Gardeners, Margot Emery, Toby Johnson, Brian Townsend, and a special guest, Caesar Stair. And Caesar's here to talk with us about some things, but let me tell you a little bit about him, and he can say more if he wants to. He's a former president of the Knox County Master Gardeners, um, was very involved with the founding of Lakeshore Park and also the urban gar. Caesar, you'll have to say this.
Knox County Community Gardens and Growers Alliance,
Yeah,
but we refer to it just as the Alliance.
as the Alliance. Okay.
So make it
Yeah.
easier for people like Brian.
Right. It is a mouthful. And so, what is it? What is it? We're glad to be here to talk gardening this morning, but we're also going to talk about, what is it? Well, Caesar's here to talk about Knox County Master Gardeners and an event that's happening next week on
Friday,
the
October
17th.
17th.
Yeah, so what can you tell us about what's happening and what it's for?
Well, the event is the special 40th anniversary of Knox County Master Gardeners, and it's going to be held at the UT Gardens. It's Friday, October the 17th from 3 to 5. So we welcome everyone to come out. It's a public event, but we'll be celebrating 40 years, which is hard to believe, of
It is.
Knox County Master Gardeners.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to go back to talk about a little bit, I always wondered where Master Gardeners began, how, because they're now
That would
all
be
over the
great.
country. And what we found out was that back in 1972, in the state of Washington, there were
Sorry
two
about this.
counties,
I'm trying to mute that.
King and Pierce counties, where a guy named Dr. David Gibby was the extension agent, and he was spending all his time going out in the field helping farmers deal with pests, plant rotation, crop rotation, what to plant, and so on and so forth. And he got back to the office, and the story was he'd get back to the office and he'd have all these phone calls from these home gardeners asking all these horticultural questions. And so he finally came up with the idea, well, can't we find somebody or a group of people that would be interested in getting horticultural training in return for volunteering to give and pass on that information to the public. So really in 1972, the first Master Gardener group was actually started out in Washington State. So the question then gets to be, how did it get to Knox County? And what we found out is, and I think they're both going to be there at this next Friday, the 17th, is an extension agent named Doug Dalton. He actually came to UT in 1970, and originally his primary work assignment was research development, but he also had a secondary requirement of home horticulture. Well, as it turned out, by about 1985, exactly 40 years ago, apparently home horticulture had taken over his job, and he started hearing about this Master Gardener program going on in other states. It's sort of funny. Neil Denton says that Harry Bryan, who was, I think, the head of the extension office at that time, he had gone to a number of states. They say Virginia, North Carolina, and maybe it was Georgia, Ohio, anyway, and found out the Master Gardener program. And Neil said the way it really started is he came back and told Doug, you will start a Master Gardening program. So that was in the fall of 1985.
Yeah, and well, that was when the first class was held.
Yeah, the first class was actually October the 13th of 1985. And before that, in September, some of us older people remember a guy named Homer Klontz, who was the New Sentinel's, I'll call it agriculture farm editor or whatever. And he put out the word that they're going to start this class. And I think the statistics were they had something like 80 applications for the first
Wow.
class, which was pretty impressive. And then
Hmm.
59 people actually attended that first class. And of course, it was a series of classes that went on, but they ended up with 48 people who
Hmm.
actually graduated from that very first class, which is actually larger nowadays. We limit the class to 40 as being the perfect size.
Right.
It's been determined, but that very first class had 48 graduates. And
That's a
that launched,
lot.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's a lot. And that launched
Hmm.
the whole Master Gardening program here in Knox County. And it's been continual ever since with new applicants being trained. And in return, I
Hmm.
always thought it was interesting that it was sort of a quid pro quo type of thing. In return for the training, you then volunteered a certain number of hours. And that's pretty much where we are today. The same
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and what is it? They ask you to volunteer 40 hours that first year, but to stay a certified master gardener, it's less than that.
Yes, 25 hours
Yeah.
a year. And then there's also another important ingredient there. You have to have 8 hours of continuing education, which I think is equally
Right.
important.
But
Uh,
there's so many different programs and places you can volunteer. Um, we even find, what is it? Even if folks are working a full-time job, if they can complete training, most of them don't have any problem getting their hours. And it's helping our community. I mean, that's the big thing, helping our community and helping extension.
And guys, this is a good point to mention that the application window for being a member of next year's Master Gardener intern class is almost upon us. Amy, do you remember what that date is?
I think it's the end of the month.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
And let me go ahead and share my screen. This is knoxcountymastergardener.org website. And so if you go to knoxcountymastergardener.org, you will see our nice little header screen and scroll down and you will see these buttons. And this one that says, how can you become a master gardener is where you would click. Another one you might be interested in, this is how to subscribe to our educational programs and events. It's a monthly email that you get, and it really lists tons of things happening in the month. So how can you become a master gardener? You click on that. And so this is our join us page and tells you more information about becoming a master gardener and how to start and how to apply. And the classes are, yeah, before November 1st is when you need to get your application in, but it is better to get in earlier. As you go down here, this is the person you need to contact. This is Ryland Thompson. He's our extension coordinator. And you can email him or call him at this number. Be sure to leave a message if you call him. And then these are the dates of the classes for this coming year. So it'll be Wednesdays. Um, that timing is not right because they are 3-hour classes. Oh, this must be, he did some orientations just to tell people about it. And so there's still another orientation or info session where you can find out about Master Gardener training if you're interested but not sure. And so there's actually one on Wednesday, October 29th. And if you can't make that and you're interested in becoming a Master Gardener, I know he generally records at least one of those. And so he can send you the recording. Let's see, this is about what the classes are. Um, and then down here is the application. So you can fill that out. But I would at this point make sure you make positive contact with Rylan if you're wanting to apply. You know, if you're wanting to do Master Gardener training this coming year.
Caesar, we talked about the history of the Knox County Master Gardeners. Let's talk a little bit about the present, about some of the projects that go on. These are where volunteers, the Master Gardener volunteers, get their service hours, and we have some incredibly impactful ones going on.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Really from, I call it the west end of Knox County to the east end and to the north. You know, in the west end of the county, we've got the Concord United Methodist Church Community Garden, which I think started in 2014 with Mike Smith and I think maybe Harry Bryan. Anyway, that garden is amazing. It's a in terms of what it does for the community, I think they produce average around 10,000 pounds of produce a year that they now give away and distribute to something like, I think it's up to 16 or 17, maybe more than that, different pantries. So that's a terrific help to those in need of fresh produce. And it's a wonderful training area also. So there's lots of people who volunteer there, learn a lot, and of course serve the public by advancing what we call research information and actually producing produce that goes out to the community. Another big one is Beardsley Farm, over off of Western Avenue, more in the central part of the city, I guess you might say, although some people think the city of Knoxville's moved way west, the center of it. But anyway, and again, I think they give away, of course, they also get food from Second Harvest, but they give away probably 15 or 20,000 pounds a year.
Well, I also think,
12,000 pounds a year that they give away.
Yeah, I think both of those gardens also have spots that homeowners can adopt.
Yes.
To grow their own vegetables.
They definitely do. And I know particularly at the Beardsley Community Farm, they have a lot of Congolese refugees and other refugees who have actually plots there. So that's another great area. Then you've got, of course, the Alliance in East Knoxville. We're producing food there. We're on land owned by Payne Avenue Missionary Baptist Church on Martin Luther King. And so again, we're trying to produce as much produce there to fight the food insecurity. It turns out that there are 18 different food deserts in Knox County, which is staggering number to me. One of them, of course, being in East Knoxville, where we contacted our initial focus, but that's the Alliance. There's other projects that are not vegetable oriented and vegetable production oriented, if you will, like Collier Preserve in North Knoxville off of Emory Road.
They have a focus on native plants there.
Native plants in the Collier Preserve there, which is right next to the library, that actually Dr. Collier and his wife, they donated that land for the library, and then they donated 12 acres for the Collier Preserve. And that's a wonderful project there, as Hank said, of native plants along the, what is that? I don't know if it's a creek or river that runs through there.
It's one of the creeks, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, and then you've got things like the Rachel Gardens, which are also, again, more about ornamental plants, natives. They got the James Agee Park over on West, right in the center of Fort Sanders, there at UT. James Agee is a little bit north of that. So we've got, and I'm sure there's the HUD program, which is a home gardening program for working with HUD, not help me out here. What's it called?
Habitat Urban Garden.
Habitat.
Yeah, Habitat. Anyway, they were doing projects really far, far east over in Strawberry Plains has been their project. And what the Master Gardeners do there is help people who are moving into their homes, many of them for the first time, probably most of them, with the landscaping around their house, and whether you want a raised bed garden, trying to help them put that in also. But again, more ornamental work, but a variety of, now those are just sort of, I guess what they call the outreach or the garden projects, or some of them.
Yes.
Mention the Bloom Center, because it's got a really special mission.
Yeah, and of course UT Gardens is one of the projects they call it extension approved projects. But the Bloom Center, Walter Cromer, Master Gardener, started that project, and it deals with really it started out intending to deal with students, mostly high school students. Turns out from West and Bearden, because that's the location that's near Central Baptist Church, who have challenges physically and so forth to work there in that really a greenhouse producing plants. So they start plants from seeds. They take transplants. They get a lot of donations. So a lot of it is moving plants from transplanting them one pot to the next, and then they have a sale. But they're these I call them kids. You know, are obtaining life lessons and actually skills to actually go out and work in nurseries or even you know your retail box stores and the garden sections. So and that has developed also is expanded, I know, into an adult program. So it started out mainly for children, if you will, and now they've got also an adult group that comes there that are challenged that work there to.
Yeah. Did we mention Knox Botanical Gardens?
I,
I mean, there's just so many different projects
that's another one
and different things
Knoxville.
happening.
Yeah, and it's another terrific program where they've got ornamental beds. They've got what Susan Kiss, the master gardener that I believe that leads that one. She's done a fantastic job over there. They've also got vegetable gardens, raised beds over there for the community. So yeah,
yeah, and not to say master gardeners created all these places, because we didn't, but we partner with all these organizations and help them out with education, plant identification, sometimes weeding and cleanup, you know, just all sorts of, and classes, there are master gardeners who lead tree walks at the botanical garden. I think they're doing walks at Collier Preserve.
They
yeah, they definitely are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the master garden. I always say the master gardener, the Knox County Master Gardener organization, which is now what 200 and something strong.
250, about 250.
About 250 strong is the really doing amazing work in Knox County that not a lot of people know about. But the amount of volunteer hours, I forget what it was last year. It's like I think altogether something like 2,000. I think we're maybe over 2,000, 2,100 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Sticks in my memory of volunteer hours here in Knox County. So it's a amazing group, great people. I would encourage people to sign up and become a master gardener. Get your application in by November the 1st. You want to meet a bunch of them, come to next Friday. To the anniversary. We have a birthday party
at UT Gardens.
Yeah, at the UT
so
Gardens.
Regretfully, there's not open parking.
No, so it's a good idea to register.
Yeah, but that registration link is only sent out to the master gardeners.
Oh, okay.
From what I understand, for the 250 of us, there's only like 40 spaces. So we're going to have to carpool. Not that everyone can make it that time of day, you know, 3 to 5 o'clock on a Friday, but I do plan on being there, and so we'll see what happens. But if you can get there, come on and join us.
I think it also the most obvious mission of the Master Gardeners is education.
Yes.
And we have, in addition to all these other programs and partnerships, we actually run our own speakers bureau and do workshops throughout the county. And also, I think we need to acknowledge the work of specifically Amy and Brian around Ask a Master Gardener, which is also, when we come and do Gardening Tips Live, this is part of a Master Gardener project. It is our part of Ask a Master Gardener. And so there's folks at different
markets.
Yeah, different farmers markets. We're at the Tennessee Valley Fair. We're on the phone. We're helping people out online. We're here and this group itself has grown, you know, to over 33,000 members. So that's also part of what we do as Master Gardeners is educate the community. So there's lots of ways people learn whether it's in their own garden getting installed through Habitat for Humanity, Habitat Urban Gardens. It's young people and adults with challenges who are learning. It's people who are interacting with the gardens that we help maintain and educate through. So there's a lot out there. So the other thing to mention, I always feel like we need to mention this, is you do not have to have, it's not necessary to have previous gardening experience because you learn so much through your basic training. And then you just absorb so much just being around this generous group of people who share all their ideas. We share, as you've seen on our show, we share a lot about our mistakes. And so you don't have to be an experienced gardener to become a master gardener because all the training is provided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, go ahead, Caesar.
Yeah, Toby, one of the things that reminds me of is that when the Master Gardeners, they had their first session October 13, 1985, at the Dogwood, what's that called? The Dogwood
Arts Festival?
Well, it was the thing that they do in February.
The House and Garden Show.
The House and Garden Show, thank you. In 1986, the Master Gardeners, Knox County Master Gardeners attended and had a table and so forth.
Oh,
at
cool.
1986 House and Garden Show, the Dogwood Festival. And I think pretty much ever since then, which the 40th anniversary of that presentation will be in this coming February, I guess. But it's interesting that that's something that's the Master Gardener's been doing for a long time. And thanks to Amy and the Ask a Master Gardeners project, as you mentioned, Toby, y'all appear at a lot of different festivals and so forth with tables and putting out information in addition to, your markets, the various markets that you show up at. So in addition to the fair, the other thing is they've also got, and you're right, that education is the primary focus of the Master Gardener organization, is the class that was started not too long ago called, I think they're just now calling it garden class.
The garden classroom, yeah.
That garden classroom that goes around the different parts of the city. They've done a lot of really sort of basic gardening information. Yeah. Usually it's about a 2-hour class, and it's been well received, and it continues that thread of trying to educate the public in return for the education that we've received. And I would say about the class, just again to urge people to sign up, I don't know of any better classes going on. The thing has just proved that it's about, what is it, 40 hours, 39 hours?
Yeah, 40, around 40 hours.
Yeah, and it starts in January this year. It's going to be during the day, and it has a wealth of information. It's just a very, very well done, but it's just gotten better and better over the years as it's been refined with excellent teachers.
And if your heart just sank hearing it's a daytime class, you need to know the next year in 2027, it'll be an evening class.
They rotate. They rotate year to year.
Because when I first heard about Master Gardeners in 2014, well, I guess I heard about it in 2013 and was like, I want to take the class. And the next class was a daytime class and my heart sank. But then I was able to take the 2015 class and join the Master Gardeners.
I was a nighttime class student too, and had to be. Toby, were you daytime or nighttime?
I was daytime, but I run my own business and it was on Mondays. So I just decided I would take time off and do some small business community service. I gave myself the time off.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, nowadays I would never be able to do that, but back then that was back in 2016. So next year will be my 10th year.
Wow.
Time flies, doesn't it?
Yes.
Hey, Margot, I retired on December 31 of 2016, and I will never forget on January the 10th at night, I started Master Gardening class.
Oh my gosh.
For all those who are wondering what they're going to do in their retirement, I strongly urge, if you have any interest in the outdoors, anything to do with plants,
yeah,
ornamental vegetables, trees, whatever, you know, one of the things you can do in your retirement is join the Knox County Master Gardener. And you will have an experience and be with a group like no other.
Yeah, and we have people who come in from all different professions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Anywhere
would have to
from, what
leave
is
the
it,
law.
AC repair to doctors and lawyers and
And you know, it's
I was glad to leave the law and all those demands of the law, practice the law for over 40 years and just be out in the gardens and learning about plants. And I was not a vegetable gardener at the beginning. You know, then people like Marcia Lehman and so forth, you'll meet people in master gardeners who will guide you and direct you and have you, if you stay curious, have you discovering things you never knew you might like or be interested in, fall in love with, you can't do without. So, you know, being outside in the garden is where I'm headed in a few minutes.
Right. Oh, a quick question.
What we all love.
Caesar, a quick question. Did you like okra before you became a master gardener?
I did like okra before I became a master gardener.
But did it increase your love for okra?
I might say that they accused me that Concord United Methodist Church would have distributed more okra if I had been down there cutting, picking some, harvesting some of the okra. And they said I always wore these pants with pockets on the side, pant leg pockets, and I would leave with them full. But I'm here to tell you that's not really true.
Right.
But it was hard to resist the okra. I love okra. So
yeah. So sometimes you, what is it, increase a love that you already have, and sometimes you find new passions.
Yeah. Well, I would have never had, I've got 6 raised bed vegetable gardens if it hadn't been for the master gardeners, and of course, particularly Marcia Lehman, who also teaches in the class. And also teaches that once you become a master gardener, an organic master gardening class is world class in terms of its the standard of that class is amazing. It's terrific. Just finished that class of about 20, but you have to be a master gardener to take that class. So another incentive to join, learn.
Yeah, it's been,
and teach.
I have found the master gardeners to be a very generous and caring group of people to be with. And so that has been one of the joys of being a Knox County Master Gardener.
Absolutely, and they all love to talk about their gardens.
Yeah, I think Brian might have something. But Brian, did you have something? You're not muted.
Hi. Okay. I want to add my 2 little bits right here. I'm here at the Dixie Lee Farmers Market, and I am well known. I don't have to have my name tag on, or my canopy is not up because I have to leave early today. But I had some people come up to me and they want to put a flower garden like about 3 feet up around the tree. They want to cut the tree flares out to make it more flat and then fill it with soil. And then they're asking me what kind of flowers to put in there for interest all year long. And I'm having to go all the way back to the very beginning. What are you doing with the tree flares?
Yeah.
And to do this, but tactfully, as not to offend them.
Right.
But the joy of being able to turn things around a little bit and look for alternatives.
Yeah.
So
well, some of them have success to get sort of the, what is it, the look that they're looking for without killing their tree.
Right. So I gave them several hard copies of articles about trees and fallacies.
Right. The good news is they had the tree flare they could see.
Yes.
Well, that is a problem in and of itself. That's a fallacy. But he was telling me he's cutting away these tree roots on the surface right there. Said no, please don't do that. Said right now, if we go with your plan, you're going to kill the tree.
Yes.
And you already cut
roots are,
right.
The tree is trying to breathe.
Right. And these tree flares are also part of the structure to hold the tree up.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
So,
But you don't know that. And oh, that's another thing. Okay, you hear the name Master Gardener
yeah.
and you think we've mastered something. And
No, no, no.
yeah, the reality is no one will ever master gardening.
Right.
We're just continually working to master some element of gardening.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think too, I think it's so, I'm not to be a pun, but maybe pun intended. It's so organic how
Yeah.
you grow your knowledge
Mhm.
that you don't really realize what you know. I've been, I'll be in my 10th year. I used to garden as a youngster with our family, had
Yeah.
vegetable gardens. We grew up with fruit trees, that kind of thing. But I know, I grew vegetables in my garden. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was not too hard. Now, and especially with more, there's much more, we're very evidence-based, so we
Mhm.
look at the research. So there's a lot of research, and a lot of what used to be the way it needs to be has changed. So we're constantly learning as well as we learn. Like, we had a conversation a couple weeks ago about clear plastic versus black plastic for
Mhm.
solarization, and the thinking around that has changed, right?
Mhm.
So we're learning, but also I realize when I'm talking with other people, they'll ask my advice on something, whether I'm working with my husband in the garden or whether I'm talking to a neighbor, and I'll realize, oh wow, yeah, I do know about that. I can give you some information on that. And then sometimes people will stump me. Like, my sister will
Yeah.
ask me, she'll take a picture of something on a house plant and say, I've got this thing going on my house plant. And I'm like, well, I don't
Mhm.
really do house plants, but let me look. Looks like some kind of scale, and
Yeah.
here's how you deal with scale, but yeah, so we don't, it's
Mhm.
very hard to understand and have deep knowledge of all of the different aspects of gardening. But
Yeah.
Right.
as a master gardener, you really do just absorb from other people. So
Hmm.
Mhm. You really do. And the other thing I've found is, and everything one who goes through training hits this, that they'll get to a point in the training that they feel like they know absolutely nothing about gardening.
yeah,
Yep.
Because you start to realize how much out there you don't know.
yeah,
And, even me, I've been an avid gardener since 2003, and I've been a master gardener for over 10 years now. And there's more out there that I don't know than I do know,
right,
but I know way more than I used to.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
They say a good education teaches you how much you don't know.
yeah.
right. Yeah. And that's
It's
one thing about, jumping in as a gardener and really starting to study it.
yeah.
And as master gardeners, we're always looking for research-based stuff, and that does change over time as people do studies. Yes, Brian.
Along the lines what you guys are talking about right now, first things I talked to our new students uh, in this class. You are taking 4 years worth of horticulture in 14 weeks, 1 day a week. And that's a
Yep.
lot of cramming right there, and that can be overwhelming. But our purpose is not to know it all, just like you guys are talking about right there, but to know where to look.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I try to tell people it's like a survey class, a college survey class where you just touch on all the different topics, but that each topic we cover in Master Gardener training could be is its own degree study program.
right.
Yeah.
So each of the topics, but we just touch on them lightly.
Well,
Yeah.
and then you learn by doing, right? You
Yes.
learn by
Hmm.
applying, and you
Mhm.
learn by seeing. Um,
Yeah.
so it's really a combination of doing and learning in the classroom.
Mhm.
So that's really the wonderful thing. You're not really just learning in the classroom.
Right.
Going out, your first year, you're contributing your volunteer hours. The other thing to note is it really is a volunteer program. So it's
Mhm.
not, everybody would love to learn about gardening, but if you don't have service in your heart, it's probably not the right fit for you, because
Yeah.
it's not just about taking the training and learning. It's about sharing that learning with others in the community. And so
Right.
you have, if you don't have that service, then there's probably another way for you to get your gardening info. And certainly you can come watch us every Saturday or go to many of our public speaking events around the community. That's a great way to learn if you're just interested in learning. But if you have that if you have that service, that volunteer heart, or that you want to do something new, and you don't have to be a retiree.
Right.
I haven't been a retiree yet, but I will
Me
be.
neither.
And the other thing to know is if you're moving, whether you move here or moving somewhere else, there are Master Gardener programs throughout the country, and you can transfer to a new, another Master Gardener program. So it's
Yes.
really
Yep.
great to continue your volunteering and have a ready-made community. That's what I liked about when I decided to join, I didn't have a lot of friends in this area. And so, I was kind of new to town, and I got to know a lot of people. And I've known, like Amy, I think I've known you for a decade. Caesar, I think I've known you for a decade. Brian, I've known Margot probably 8 years.
Yeah.
So Margot and I are trying to figure out, did we ever meet in person? And I'm like, yes, we did. And we're still trying to figure out, we can't remember.
Yeah, I know I met Toby the first time at Panera Bread.
Was that the first
A
time?
meeting for something
Oh.
related to the website or some, I don't even remember the details of it.
Oh yeah, we had a communications committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was on the board.
Right.
Executive committee. Yeah. I got on this executive committee like a year in.
Right. Yeah.
I jumped in with both feet. I was like, well, I'll help out, I'll be treasurer. And then Caesar, I think you took over. I remember.
Yeah, I was treasurer after you were.
Yeah, treasurer, and a thankless job, y'all. No, actually, now it's really easy. We used to do it with paper checks and cash. Now we have an online where you can pay your membership dues, and the membership dues are so affordable. They're ridiculously affordable. So, and even if you're a little bit cash strapped right now, we have scholarships for people, and we have ways for people to participate.
Well, let's tell people what the membership dues are.
$25 a year for membership. Now the training class is $200, and I think you need to pay it before December 1st.
But you get that back in supplies and things.
Right, you get I don't have my book here.
It's 4-inch notebook.
It's my book. Is it on the shelf back there?
Very huge.
It's big.
Well, guys, I'm going to rein us in. We've talked about people watching this show to learn about gardening.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Are we going to go back to gardening?
Yeah, I think we need to. It's 9:39 and we've got a slideshow. And
well, so Caesar said he didn't need to leave.
Yeah, Caesar, thanks for coming.
I will go garden.
So we're going to let Caesar go.
That the class does have, as Amy mentioned, $200, and it's well worth it. But if you need help financially, there is a scholarship program for the class also that you need to talk to Ryan about. Yeah, talk to him. Just hope we see everybody next Friday, 3 to 5 at UT Gardens to celebrate the anniversary of Knox County Master Gardeners. So we hope to see you, and thank you for having me on. Y'all did a good job. Bye, Caesar, and
thank you,
see you later.
Thank you.
All right,
and guys, before we start the slideshow, I want to give a shout out to Amanda Powell and I'm going to say your name wrong, Elisa Rotherman's Grant. They're both watching live and have been saying hi while the discussion's been going on.
Yeah, and see, I'm not seeing those. I don't know what's going on. Facebook. Oh, I see. Okay. I see where I can see them.
Yay.
Yeah. Facebook. Love it, hate it, all those things. Okay, so I guess I'll start our slideshow. Another thing there was something I wanted to mention. Ryland Thompson is the extension agent who works with Master Gardeners, and that he's called our extension coordinator for Knox County Master Gardeners. And he is a great person to work with. Just if you don't contact him the first time, try again. Because he is very busy, and Master Gardeners is only a fraction of his job with Extension. So, sometimes he has a little bit of trouble finding time to make callbacks. So
And
just
I'm adding the URL for the
Mhm.
Knox County Extension Office where they can find Ryan's information.
Yeah, Ryland.
Yeah.
And it's on our website on the Join Us page also. Okay, so I'm going to, oh, this is interesting. Okay. I don't think we want to do that, but now you can set the things to show up differently. Okay, let's see. So this is our slideshow. We do a slideshow about what's happening in the garden. And this is my garlic harvest for this year. As many of you know, I plant, I always plant garlic. It's one of my favorite crops to grow. And the time to plant it is after we've had a frost or two. So it's usually the end of October, beginning of November is what I aim for. So I always do a garlic portrait of my harvest. And last year was a rough year for me personally, and I didn't get out there and take care of my garlic like usual. Usually all my heads of garlic are at least this big, and this year it's a little sad, comparatively. So you can see many of them are very small. And what I'm going to be doing, as you look at this, you can see I've got the name of each variety with it. But these ones that I don't have any large heads, I'm not going to replant those. If I like that variety, I'm going to actually invest in getting new seed garlic, which is the starter heads. And you break them apart and you plant the cloves separately. So each clove of garlic turns into a head. So some of them I'm going to save. You can see I got some pretty good ones there. Got some nice ones back here. But it is not my usual harvest. I did not weed or fertilize my garlic this year, and it makes a big difference. And that's last week's picture. So, that's something to know. I did notice that some of these that look like heads are actually singles. They call them rounds. And so I actually might plant some of the rounds and see what comes of them, because that's actually a single large clove. Okay, so next, tomatoes. As you can see, I've still got quite a few tomatoes hanging, and I looked at the forecast and we're going under 50 degrees sometime in the next 10 days or so. And I tend to be a little bit colder. The temperature for tomatoes to get chill damage is about 45 degrees. So I'm looking at in the next week, I will harvest all the tomatoes that are still hanging. I'm not going to wait for them to start changing color. And that'll help them um, keep and ripen slowly as we go forward, um, keeping them inside. And I generally have fresh tomatoes to eat until at least Thanksgiving, doing it that way. Okay, figs. I didn't prune my figs well, so they are covered with little green fruits, but I'm actually going to get a few ripe ones. If you prune if what I did, I made a mistake. I let my fig bush develop tons and tons of sucker branches. And so its energy is divided on all these sucker branches that have little green figs on them. And so they're not ripening because they're not getting up to the size they need to be to ripen. And so that is my mistake. So if you have a fig bush that has lots of growth and lots of little figs, next year, make sure and prune it back so you're leaving only a few of the stalks. And what I'll do next year is I'll leave a few older stalks and I'll maybe leave 4 or 5 older stalks and 4 or 5 younger stalks. Stems, branches. And then I should get some fruit, and then I'll have some plant growth for the next year. So that is my plan. I just have to actually get out and do it. Okay, this is just a plant I've been really pleased with this year. This is lima beans, and it makes these beautiful red lima beans inside that are supposed to be really good soup beans. And so, but just the plant is so beautiful, even as the weather is cooling.
Mm-hmm.
Where my other bean plants look horrible, and this got a little bit of water through the dry periods of the summer, but I haven't watered it at all this fall, and it's still looking beautiful. And this is another one that's really pretty. This is hyacinth bean, purple hyacinth bean. And you don't see any flowers in this picture. Well, there's a couple down here. But they just produce these really pretty purple beans. And I didn't realize there's another form of it. So this is ones with white beans. And here you can see the flowers. They're really, quite pretty. And it was, everywhere there's beans, it was covered with flowers. And if I'd cut those beans off, I mean, if I'd cut the flowers, it would have made more flowers. And I know the bean pods, when they're immature, are definitely edible. And the dry beans are edible, but you do have to do some special treatment to the dry beans because they have a toxin in them
For
that you have
this
to take care
particular
of.
type of bean, right?
For these hyacinth beans,
Yeah.
the purple hyacinth beans. In some cultures, another name for them is lob beans. And so they're real common in some cultures, but you do have to do some special treatment of the dry beans. The immature pods that don't have any beans in them, you can eat them, and you can stir fry them and you don't have to do special treatment. I have tried them, and they're the fresh pods, and they are just too floral to me.
Too floral.
Too floral. To me, it's too much like eating a flower. They have that scent to them, and I just personally don't like them. Some people really like them, but that's the pods with immature beans inside. So it's actually the beans themselves that have the toxin, not the pods. Okay, this is what happens when you prune your aster a little bit later than it should be pruned. So I think there's one. Yeah, there's one. Can you see that little bit of purple? There's a little bit of purple. There's one flower open here. So this is one of the probably Astra oblongifolia. I don't know that that's its official name anymore. They've been changing the names in that family a lot recently. But all these little pieces, those are flower buds that haven't opened. And that happens when you prune it a little bit later. This might have been pruned the end of July, maybe even August. And so I don't even know if the flowers are going to open. I'm not sure how frost tolerant those flowers are. But if it blooms, it'll be beautiful because you can see all the buds on it. Okay, another thing that's happening is we're getting some plants are starting to move into their fall colors. And so this is one of the blueberries. And there are blueberries that have yellow foliage and red fall color. And so this one has a red fall color. So it makes a really beautiful, you can make a blueberry hedge that can be really beautiful. And many of them have a bark color, redder, yellow bark color that's really pretty through the winter. And so they're a good hedging plant. So not only gives you fruit in the summer, but they also give you really nice fall color. And some of them even give you some winter interest. So they're a native plant to us, particularly the rabbit eye blueberries. Okay, my red bud is starting to get ready to lose its leaves. They're starting to turn yellow. I'm not at all worried about the spotting because they're getting ready to detach from the plant. And so that's where we are on that. You'll see that on other trees also, where the leaves will just lose their vibrancy and then they'll start showing their fall color. With as dry as we've been, have you guys heard any reports about what our fall color is supposed to be like this year?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I know it's been a pretty dry year, and I think in dry years we lose a lot of the reds, that the colors just aren't as vibrant for the fall leaf color. And then, of course, I had to take a picture of goldenrod. They're just blooming beautifully, and they don't cause allergies. That's the ragweed. The pollen on goldenrod is very heavy and just sinks to the ground. But
Amy, go
yeah,
ahead. Talk about the difference with ragweed, and then I'll ask my question.
okay, yeah, ragweed has very light pollen and it travels in the wind. Okay, go ahead.
Have you been watering that plant? Because mine have kind of, the leaves are brown now, and the blooms are no longer bright yellow, and they're kind of dropped over.
No, I haven't been watering those. I actually don't think I've watered that area at all.
You may have had pop-up
Yeah.
showers that I haven't had then.
Right. Well, the other thing is, I think one of our gutters actually does, go toward this area. We have not had really measurable, we've had a light mist of a rain one day, but I don't think it even measured on the rain gauge.
Well, I've watered mine, but it just was too little too late for it, and not just, yeah.
But I also think this was pruned back late. So it popped up with its foliage late. But you can see this is behind it is a silky dogwood. And you can see its leaves are very drooped.
Yeah.
And so it's fairly water stressed. And they've turned really red this year. And so, this area is not well watered.
Mhm.
But
I'm
it
watering right after our show today, actually.
yeah, but it is heavy clay and it does get, water from our downspouts. So there ends up being a lot of water in the soil there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The soil, it's got a lot of what's called field capacity, where it can hold a lot of water. And so I think that might be what's going on there, why that looks so nice. Okay, and then just, what is it? You got to keep your eyes open. There was a beautiful rainbow one morning. And what actually happened is my husband sent me a picture of a rainbow from Oak Ridge that morning. And I went out and looked, and there was a rainbow here in Lenore City. And so, just keep your eyes open and you could see beautiful things. And that is the end of my slideshow. Okay, see, I'm not seeing all the comments.
Amy, do you want to show my pictures or should I show next
Oh,
week?
you had pictures. I'm sorry, Toby.
I can show them next week if you want.
Well, I think we've got time. You want to do it? Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm scattered.
That's
Okay,
all right. I'm
there you
scattered.
go. Let's try this again. Oh, I shared the wrong thing, didn't I? I'm sharing my whole screen and not just the pictures. And that makes it hard to see the pictures. Let me redo that. That'll be better. That's better. Okay.
So
Okay, should be able to see that.
critter damage. I put some violets in here and they're
Oh
gone.
no.
I have a woodchuck that is under my deck sometimes and comes up. I had some I planted some radishes in here too, and he's just munching on it. So I just let it go. So these are some things you have to accept in your garden.
Yes. Oh gosh.
So gardening is about acceptance as well. It teaches us acceptance. So you could go to the next one.
Yeah.
I have this tomato plant was a volunteer, and I'm getting these lovely cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to go pick
Oh
these
yeah.
today. I also
That's
have some
beautiful.
chives in there that have been there for like a decade. So
Mm-hmm.
when I got back, I was out of town for a while. When I got back, I just staked it and went for it. So sometimes you
Yeah.
get gifts from your garden as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to also show the progress on my cool
Oh,
season garden.
that's
So
beautiful.
got leeks. I've got the things, we were talking earlier about the warm weather. So
Mm-hmm.
it does impact your cool season vegetables. So
Mm-hmm.
everything's going well, but the butter lettuce isn't really heading per se,
Mm-hmm.
and the broccoli isn't really broccoli heads aren't coming up either.
Mm.
So we shall see what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all going to be good anyway. And you can eat broccoli leaves. You don't have to just wait for a head. You can eat broccoli leaves. And then I have some kale that's going great. But I'm very pleased with where it's at right now. And I have the cover architecture set up already. So when it gets cold, or I have not seen any cabbage moth
Mm-hmm.
damage, worm damage. There's a few holes in things, just normal. But if it gets too cold, if we're expecting a frost, I can get out there and cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very pleased with this. I just have one box I'm doing overwintering.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to replace as I take things out. I might replace some things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, I'm just continuing to have some fun with my garden, with my
That's
vegetables.
beautiful.
Yeah, it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to point out one of the things that happens with your potted plants, especially when we have this kind of drought type, just dry weather. And
Mm-hmm.
I bought these a few weeks ago and they were absolutely gorgeous. And I went out of town and I wasn't able to water. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can see they're starting to get fried, right?
Yeah.
And they've been getting fried. They're in the front of our house. It gets a ton. If I don't, these have to be watered more than once a week. So
Mm-hmm.
I just have been really busy, haven't been able to get out there. So, when you go out and water, I can listen and I hear water just dripping down to the bottom of the pot because these are kind of
Mm-hmm.
in the top of these ceramic pots. So if you go to the next slide, I'll show you what happens
Oh.
is the soil separates from the side of the pot. And
Mm-hmm.
what happens is your water's just running off and going down the side. So
Mm-hmm.
the way to deal with this is to take this pot out and put it in either a bucket of water if it's small enough, or a
Mm-hmm.
tray, and let it suck up water from below. You got to have the water line be a little bit high so that it can
Mm-hmm.
pull it up. And that's the best way to water until you can get it
Yeah.
watered again. So I wanted to point that out. If folks think they're watering but they're hearing water drizzle down, they're probably not
Yeah.
watering deeply, and it's not going to help your plant.
Right.
So these
Now,
plants are still alive, but
right.
they're really stressed. So after I jump off today, I'm going to go dump them in water and leave
Yeah.
them in.
Does that outer pot have holes in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, it's a pot within a pot in a pot,
Right.
right? So, yeah, so water's like I'm losing most of my water. So
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to point that out to folks. If things do get stressed, you want to take them out and let them, do capillary action from the bottom. That's how plants
Yeah.
naturally drink water anyway, for the most part. So,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're watering and you're like, I'm watering, but nothing's happening, my plant's still stressed.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's not really getting deeply watered. So,
Right. Yeah. One thing I've done with I've got some containers that I sort of have what is it? A layer, um, but you can do like a wick, where you can have a certain amount of water that'll be stored in the bottom,
yes,
the outer pot, but you
yes,
don't want to have an outer pot that doesn't have holes
yeah,
because sometimes we will have inches of rain at a time, and
yeah.
I have literally seen plants swimming in pots.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll like lift up. I like to use, in my pots on my deck, I like to use big trays that have,
Uh-huh.
2 inches, because then when the water does come, it sits in the bottom, and it's not like
Right.
waterlogging the plant, and the plant can pull it up. So, but this is just something to remind everybody. It's that
Yeah.
time of year, and
Mhm.
I'm bummed these are looking grotty, but you know what? I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah. And one thing you can do with a pot, with an outer pot like that, like this, if you can sort of, your inner pot, you can see how deep it goes, and then you can make a drain hole a couple inches
Yeah.
above and sort of let that be a water reservoir.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
can work sometimes.
And after doing all that, put it in a shady spot to help it recover.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it sit in the back for a little while. This is real. This gets pounded with sun all day
Oh,
long. At once,
yeah.
it's noon or so. Let's keep going because I know we're at the top of the
Yeah.
hour.
Oh, we are.
I just wanted to show off one of our camellias that's starting to bud, and I've shown
Mhm.
this. I've shown these plants a few times. This got zapped big time when we had that big frost a long time ago. It is surviving. It is thriving. It is budding. It is going to have tons of.
Oh,
So
yay.
it's good to not give up on your plants. That's my keep going.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if you've done a little bit, when it gets really dry, if you go around and do a little bit of trimming up, you can have a second flush, like that catmint on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
This is
I
our
see.
pollinator garden. It's coming back. You get a second flush. You can have some beautiful fall green plants. So I always like to, if things look grotty, I don't give up. I keep going. I trim them down. I get them some water, and then sometimes they come back. Keep going.
Yeah.
This is our stone pine, and this was a tiny little Christmas tree that we bought in a pot, and now we're training it because it's going to be a very tall tree, and it loves drought. It's stone pines. You'll find a lot of stone pines in Rome, for example. They're very tall trees. So we're just training it. So again, not giving up. Don't throw out those small Christmas trees and those small plants you buy. You can put them in your garden as landscape. So again, my theme today is don't give up.
Yes.
Plants can come back, plants can grow.
Yeah,
So
they want to grow.
yeah, keep going. The other thing, just this is my last picture, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Just as we get into the fall, it's tempting to trim everything back. This is some pampas grass, and you don't want to do that. First of all, there's several reasons. Number one, in the winter, this is absolutely beautiful when it gets covered with snow and ice. Beautiful winter interest. Grasses are fabulous in the winter when you don't have other things going on in your garden. Second thing, it's great for wildlife. Third thing, if you cut it back now, it's going to damage the root, the core of the plant because it's not being protected from the frost, etc. So the best time to do this is in the early spring. So you may have things in your garden that you think now's the time to prune. It is not the time to prune because as soon as that frost hits, and it will hit sooner or later, it's going to damage these plants. So let them be for now. And wait till springtime, early springtime. And I like to just put a big rope around it and just zip and cut it down. But these are huge. These have gotten huge over the years. But so if it's dead or diseased, prune it. If it's not, let it go, and do it in the early spring.
Yep. Okay. So
before we get busy saying goodbye and rounding up the show, I want to say hi to Margaret Hollingsworth, who's watching.
yes. And so we've had a couple of people say hi this morning. And so glad you've been able to join us. And what is it? I'm assuming you all didn't have any questions because you didn't put them in the comments. And we're after 10 o'clock and it's time to wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Wow, it went fast. And so it's been great talking gardening with you all. And I won't be here next week because I will be at Market Square, but the other master gardeners on our team will be here for Gardening Tips Live. So
I'll be here. Amy, if you want me to host, I can host.
That would be wonderful. So
Yes.
Toby will be hosting next week.
Margot, are you going to join me next week?
Yeah, and Lee and Brian will be here too.
Oh, awesome.
Let's chat about what we want to talk about.
After the show,
we should say goodbye to the folks on Facebook, and we'll
Thanks,
talk
everybody.
to you all later. Have a great week and happy gardening. Bye.